pleasant morning to each and everyone. My name is Ms. Irisley Baratibat. I am going to ask some questions about my field study requirement. Here's my co-teacher, my friend. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Ed and I work at Suratani School. I teach Mathayum 1s and Mathayum 2, and I also work with Andrew Biggs Academy.
How long have you been teaching?
Including my experience in the Philippines, it should be around 10 years
10
now.
years, wow. Awesome, 10 years.
Yeah,
A decade.
it's too long, but then it feels like it was just yesterday when I started teaching.
Okay, here's my first question. As a teacher, how can you create an effective learning environment towards your students?
An effective learning environment meaning it's very conducive for learning and the students are comfortable and they're not pressured to learn. And in my class, I ask my students their interests, whatever they like in the class, and if I have those basic idea and basic information, I can turn the class into something that would make them interested and fun and they would easily engage in.
Okay, good. That was a good answer. Now, moving on. Question number 2. Can you describe the learning environment of your classroom, or how do you manage your students in a positive manner?
I see. In my class, we always think positive. So we start with our science class creed. We always remind ourselves that the goal for our science is to make our parents, ourselves, and everybody happy. So one tip I can give to those teachers out there looking for a very positive and very conducive classroom atmosphere is that you should know your students well, and you should not start right away with the lesson. You have to warm up and you have to build trust and rapport with your students and your kids, and when you earn their trust, it will be so easy to teach them anything.
Yes, that is very much true. I mean, you should have like a freezer to start up the class, right? Okay, moving on. Question number 3. In your own opinion, are teachers responsible for students' behavior? Why or why not?
Yes, the teachers are responsible for the students' behavior because, unlike the saying that says you can bring the horse near the water but you cannot force them to drink. Actually, it's not true. The real thing is that you can put salt in the horse's food so that they can be very thirsty, and when you bring them to the water, they will drink a lot. So the teachers plays a very important role in making the students interested and making them motivated to study your class.
Yes, that is a great answer. Okay, moving on. As a secondary teacher, what are the factors you consider when choosing a teaching method?
Yes, for me, the first factor I look for is the fun factor. Can we make the lesson fun? Because students would do anything for fun. And then once you find out that the lesson can be turned into something very, very creative or something very interactive, then you can start doing it. There's no cookie cutter technique in starting a class, but then if you start with a good tone, like a fun tone, it will be fun until the end. So in my class, I believe that there are no boring lessons. There are only boring teachers and boring students.
So it depends on the teachers on how they,
they handle the class. True, that's actually true.
Okay, moving on. Question number 6. What is the best teaching method for you?
Oh, that's a good question. The best teaching method for me is gamification. It's a new strategy for teaching because you turn the class into a fun and very educational activity. One thing I use in my class is this app called Kahoot. If you're familiar with it.
Kahoot, yes. Kahoot is very popular among the millennials. It's very true.
Yeah, and they use their phone for education and not for just playing games. Games in class would teach them more about what you're going through in the class in a very fun way. So they're not stressed, but they're actually having fun while they're having a test.
So at the same time, they're learning, just like the purely game, but they're learning.
They learn something, and you can put your lesson in the Kahoot, and the Kahoot will just take care of it.
It's a good teaching method.
Yes.
I think I can.
You can do that in your class. It's very true.
Okay, my 7th question. How would you assess your students?
How many methods do you want?
three methods?
Three methods. Okay, there are three methods all teachers use in class. The first one is written tests.
Written tests.
Yeah,
That's
or
very
written
important.
quizzes, because you need to know that they know how to write this one, or they have to
Yes,
learn how
that is very
to
true.
spell it well. And then it's good for formative and exams because they need a solid evidence that the students are learning. And the second assessment I would say is using interactive games like Kahoot. After you play Kahoot, they give you a performance sheet, like an Excel file where you can find the student's weakness and the strength and the questions that
It's
they
like a
are-
rubrics, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
The last one would be oral tests, because when you ask them right there and then, they would process the information really fast, and then they would use more confidence when they speak the right answer in class. So when you call them by their name and then let them answer the question, it will give them confidence when you say, "Hey, that's correct." Yeah, and give them a round of applause. It builds their confidence too.
Okay, great answer. Now, as a teacher, what are your biggest strengths?
For me, it's actually just one answer. My biggest strength is my relationship with the students. In my class, I make sure that I have a good relationship with my students, because if they like the teacher, they would like the class and they would be very interested in learning, right?
Okay.
But if they don't like the teacher, they will hate the class, they will fail your class, and they would not
Not
appreciate it. Sometimes they will not come and show up in your class.
Okay.
So that's my greatest strength, because I know the students and I have a good relationship with them. They are comfortable when they study in my class.
The relationship is a very, very big aspect in your teaching career.
That's right.
Okay, this is my final question. How do you define yourself being an effective teacher to your students?
Yeah, being an effective teacher means a lot of things. But how do I define effectiveness is that when the students know and understand what you've been teaching them, because it doesn't actually depend on the teacher. You would see that you're an effective teacher if the students learn something from you. What I'll always say in my class is that this class is not about me, it's about you. So the students are the stars of the class, and they're the ones learning, not us learning. So they should be speaking more than us speaking.
So that's very true.
Yeah, you can speak like 30% of the whole 1 hour, but the 70% they should be the ones speaking.
So like it's a performance learning base.
Yes.
And also, as teachers, we are now the enabler and facilitators. Unlike before that we just like discuss.
Yes, and the students just listen. So yeah, it's an active part with both sides.
Yes, so thank you very much for sharing your time, your knowledge and expertise in this field of teaching. And this is a big help, in my field study requirement. And
yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Actually, she deserves a grade A. Give her the highest score you can give.
thank you very much, and goodbye.
Bye.